Let's move on to Les. He's our final speaker for tonight, and he's going to give us an awesome presentation about the time that he spent in the tundra in the early 90s. And I think he's got some great snapshots to share with us in the time before digital photography. So thank you, Les.
Right, thanks, thanks, Megan. So this is called a Taste of Tundra. So I'm actually going to do maybe a full 1 hour or 45-minute presentation, and this is just a kind of why is this not working? Ah, dear. You can see the, okay, there we are. So this is, I'm calling it a trailer to a longer talk. So the talk is about an expedition I made to the tundra way back in 1991. We went to a place called Lake Poncheshiva, and that's spelled correctly. That CHSH is one letter in the Russian alphabet. We were only about 1,000 kilometers from the North Pole. It was still in the days of the Soviet Union, and the photos I'm showing this evening are just a few highlights. It was the era of slide photography, so the slides are nearly 30 years old, so I was actually quite happy how nicely they scanned. So that kind of dates me. My hair has changed color since then, and that's an advert for cold water Omo. The lake is Lake Poncheshiva behind me. When we arrived, that was frozen over. You can see my beard has grown substantially, so that was about a month into the trip. We traveled from Moscow to a town called Khatanga in this plane. And what's amazing about this plane is that the logo is both polar bears and penguins, which are two things which seemingly don't fit together. But Aeroflot was all the planes and the helicopters seemed to belong to Aeroflot, and this was the polar division of Aeroflot. So you can see there's a P, that's a P for pie, O, that's a lambda, an L, that's an A. The thing that looks to us like a P is actually an R, so that there says polar. So it's the polar flight of Aeroflot. It was a cargo plane that we traveled on. Amazing. And we traveled by in this helicopter from Khatanga to to Lake Poncheshiva. This is what it looked like when we arrived. We landed in this little tiny snow-free patch. Not snow-free because of the thaw, but snow-free because of the wind had blown it free. There were about 16 of us in that helicopter, plus the pilots and the navigator. So it was an amazing arrival. So we put up our tents, and the next version of the presentation I'll show you the tents, and then we set out to find nests. And so these were also so snow-free patches which had blown snow-free, and it's quite hard to believe that things like curlew sandpipers, grey plovers, sanderlings, turnstones were actually busy nesting, laying eggs at that stage. And they have to lay their eggs at that stage because by the time the thaw comes, it's turned green. So here's the nest of a grey plover, and you can see it's now a bit after the thaw, and you can see how beautiful the tundra becomes after a few weeks. Within a few weeks, the flowers are blooming. If you look carefully, you'll see the nest. This is the same nest it was taken on a different day. The nest is in the bottom right-hand corner, little lake, and it was in habitat that looked like this, that the grey plovers always bred, kind of moraine rather than the sort of permafrost just below the surface. That's one of the few species that I didn't know from Langebaan Lagoon. That's a golden plover. And here's a golden plover a little bit angry with me. This was a species of gull that we were not supposed to see. So this was an out-of-range record of Ross's gull. And you can see it's in the thaw, it's all brown. Within a few weeks of this, within a few days of this, it would be turning green. So here's the Ross's gull close up. Bird allowed me to get really close to it. So this is a ptarmigan in winter plumage in the snow. And next picture is a ptarmigan on its nest. This is camouflage plumage on the tundra. And you go a few more paces away from that, and the ptarmigan is incredibly hard to see. So the way we found nests of ptarmigans was when they burst off the nest at our feet and gave us all a huge fright. That's Genia on the left. Sorry, he was our leader, and he was, as young as he was a real polar man. He knew what was safe and what wasn't safe in that environment. And Lena Lapo on the right was also very much part of the expedition. So we had a snowy owl nest close by. The books say that snowy owls have between 3 and 11 nests or something, 3 and 11 eggs or something. And this snowy owl hadn't read the book. It had 13 eggs. And snowy owls start incubation when the first egg is laid. So the hatching of the eggs is staggered. And Zenia and Lena and their team rounded up the chicks every few days and measured them. So it was an amazing collection of data they collected. So Zenia has gone on, and he now is involved with a spoonbill sandpiper project. We ran out of bread, and the cooks we had with us had no idea how to make bread. So there was a whole batch of trial runs before they got it right. And at some point they made this horrendous hand, and that's my friend Ron Summers doing some sort of a salute. So Ron and I have written more papers together than it is responsible to do at the distances we are apart. It was a place with lots of music and lots of fun, and I think the bloke in front is he's operating the bottom 3 strings of the guitar, and the bloke at the back, whose names I've lost, operating the other 3 strings of the guitar. So that was that's just a trailer to a fuller presentation, which will explain why we went there and all that sort of thing. So we had lots of science and we had loads of fun, and the full version of this presentation will come in a few weeks' time. So thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you, Liz. Definitely my favorite photo is that one of you next to the Omo. So
Right.
so when would you give your longer talk?
Oh, as soon as I've got it ready. So I've not even looked at these slides probably for 15 or more years. So I was very nervous putting them out and seeing that they were actually in quite good quality. And my friend Brian Inkpen has a slide scanner, and so we spent an evening scanning about 150 slides a few weeks back.
Yeah, it's amazing. That I mean, those photos are incredible, and I think it's definitely worth scanning all of them in so that you never, you know, that you don't lose them. So
Yeah. Mm.
yeah, it's very, very cool.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, well, I think does anybody have any questions? Any questions for some of our previous speakers?